Hello everyone and welcome back. We've got a few things going on today. First thing I'm going to show you though is this. We're going to jump straight into it. Been out on a long old drive today. Went all the way around the M25 to the other side of London and then back through out to the countryside. Picked up four new straights here, a full set of wheels. These are painted white. We're going to clean them up, get a new set of tyres on these, put these on the car, and then I'm going to respray the ones that are on there right now, get them all in one nice colour, get them all professionally done. In this box here we have a Lambda Sensor for the pre-cat. This goes on the exhaust manifold. My one's not been working, so we're going to get that on and then hopefully that'll fix its overfueling and get it running right again. We've got a gallon of petrol. This costs £10.5. I am blown away. It's far too much money. The government needs to do something about it. It's crazy. We've got pretty much 5 litres of fuel there, and that's going to go in the car because it's completely empty at the moment. And obviously we've got a battery here with some charge in it because, as you know, my one was completely flat. So let's get these over to the car and let's get started. Here she is. So we've got the spanner. It's for the O2 sensor because I couldn't find a socket for it. Got the battery here. Let's get her open and get started up. Should have something in there for the battery from when I removed it, hopefully. Obviously there's no battery on it at the moment, so I've got to use the key. There we go. I've got a spanner in there, so I'll be able to make that work. So let's do that first. Right, I'm going to need that. I am right-handed, so I look like an idiot doing this because I'm using the wrong hand. Actually, I can probably leave it like that. Yeah, that's from where it broke before, these, and I've had to get a metal plate underneath it and bolt the metal plate into the battery tray to bolt this to, because the battery tray broke, and I would rather fix something than spend the money on a new one. Get the wire out from under there. Positive one out the way. There you go. I should be able to give that a little push, and there we go, it drops right in. And the spanner drops right on the floor. Cool, so that's in now. There's my spanner. So there is an order when you connect up the battery. You want to connect the positive first. Make sure it's seated nicely, make sure the wires aren't trapped. And then you want to connect the negative. And it's the opposite order when you disconnect it. You disconnect the negative first and then the positive. So I'll get these tightened up and I'll catch back up with you. So that's the battery in. Put my little cover over the positive as you're supposed to. Now, the Lambda sensor is this one, just down here, which I can't get to, underneath the exhaust manifold. What this does is it senses how much oxygen is left in the exhaust after the combustion, and it uses that to determine how much fuel to add and controls the air-fuel ratio. I don't believe mine's working. Looking at the live data, reading the ECU while the engine's running, it's staying at 0.9 volts. It should be going back and forth from a low voltage to a high voltage. So let's see if I can get that off and we'll get that replaced. So using my dad's trusty spanner, so all of mine are still at work. It's coming out. Broke it loose, so now we just got to wind it out. This is going to be very boring to watch, so I'm just going to catch back up with you when this is out. So we've got the sensor out now, and it might not actually be broken, it might just be because it's incredibly dirty. But anyway, I'm going to replace it and then maybe keep it as a spare and clean it up. You can see all that is carbon, so that's where the engine's been over-fueling. And that's just where the fuel isn't getting burned properly, and then it sits that up, sitting in the exhaust manifold. So we'll get the new one out of the box, and we'll get that replaced. Filthy already. Lovely. Yeah, can't do it. So before we do anything, let's just check these are the same. So we've got to swap that little plug over onto there so it can clip into the mount down there. They look the same to me. I'm happy with that. I'd say we're pretty good. Let's crack on. Pull your little cap off at the end of it. Tuck the packaging there so it doesn't fly away. And this has to go into this hole here, which is a very awkward one to do. Instead of dropping it on the floor. Let's give that a little clean up. Shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have dropped it on the floor. You've got to be careful with these. You've got to be careful with everything. There we go. Very awkward, but you can do it without taking the manifold off. So I'm going to screw this in and catch back up with you in a second. So as you can see, I've ran that in by hand now, so let's just grab our trusty spanner, get that in there, just make sure it's nice and tight. Oh, you don't want this leaking being on the exhaust manifold. These do have a torque rating, but I don't have a socket to get on there with, so we're just going to make sure it's tight. If you're worried about that kind of thing, you can obviously get it torqued yourself. The specs will be in a Haynes manual, or I'm sure they're readily available online. You don't need to do these extremely tight, you just need to make sure they're seated and then make sure that little washer's crushed, and once they kind of stop turning, you don't want to muscle them too hard, so I'd say that's about right there. Once you've done a few of them, you tend to know how tight to do them by hand. So we've got our little clip here, we just need to put this on, if I can remember which way it went. Which I can't, but let's figure it out. Let's try this way. Yes. So you just push that in like that. And then this goes underneath. You put it like that and just turn it 90 degrees. Half, plug it on, and then that should be that. So I guess now's the moment of truth. Just a quick recap. You might have seen it in the last video, but if you haven't, I'll tell you now. This sensor has been replaced. This is the coolant temperature sensor that sits on the coolant elbow. I believe the old one wasn't working, as my coolant fan stayed on constantly. However, I've not been able to test it yet because the battery didn't work, so I'll also be testing that today. Let's see if she's even got enough fuel in to start up. I don't think she will, which is why I've gone and bought that little bit. Well, actually, we'll put that in first. So I'm going to put that little bit in, and then I'll get back to you. Catch up in a second. I just had to hunt around like a quick madman for a few minutes in my garage for this, as it wasn't with the jerry can where it should have been. So let's grab that. It's over here in my garden with the wheels. See, these are just MG straights, the same as the ones that come on my car from factory. However, these have been painted in white by the previous owner. I've got a pretty good deal on these, so what I'm going to do is these tyres, they're not that great. They look like they've got good tread, but then they're dry rotted and perished, so they're not really any good. I think I've got two. I think these bottom two are okay. I think they're usable. But these are too small anyway. I run a 225 and these are 205. I just wanted these for the rims themselves, because then I can clean them up, get fresh tyres on them, put them on the car, take mine off and paint them properly. These have been curved. They're not perfect, but they'll do. And then I can take these off once mine are done, and I might paint these a bright colour. I'm not sure yet. And then use them for track day wheels with some sticky slicks on them. Anyway, I've got the petrol. Let's go. Get the keys. It's so handy to have that spoiler. Just put it there, it won't move. Cobwebs on my wheels. Shows how long the car hasn't moved for. That's so depressing. That stops this week though. It's going in for its MOT test. I'm getting all these bits on it. It's going to be back on the road in no time. There we go, come on. Not quite as quick as NASCAR, is it? So I've got one white wheel at the moment, so this will tell me how it will look before. I'm not sure I'm going to stick with these grey wheels. They're a bit too dark, I'm not sure. They don't really make the blue pop that well. They look good, but I think they could look better in a different colour. We're getting there, it's nearly empty. Massive cobweb over by the wing mirror, if you can see it. That's depressing. First place this car's going after the MOT station is for a wash. And there we go, pit stop's done. We've got petrol. Boom. Let's go. Uh-oh, that's not good. Just check the not in gear. It's good. Fill in the clutch. Turn the radio off. Oh, we've got some bell squeal, but that's fine. Well, my fan's still spinning, so it doesn't appear to have solved that issue. So that's confusing. Maybe a wire's got pinched or something. I'll have to look into that further. Sounds better than it did before, so I think that O2 sensor's solved the issue. anyone knows what could be causing that fan to come on, let me know, because it seems like that coolant temperature sensor hasn't fixed the issue that I thought it was going to. For £10 I'm not really annoyed about that. It was so cheap that I'm happy to replace it, because now I know that one's going to work for much longer than the last one will, because it's new. But yeah, I'll catch up with you in a bit. So we're back, and I've scanned it now with my trusty little very cheap scanner. If we do it again, no codes. Beforehand I was getting 2 oxygen sensor codes. Yeah, no codes once again. If we scroll down, so it says oxygen sensor not ready, but that could just be because it's not up to temperature yet. But the heated O2 sensor is ready, so that's a good sign. If that wasn't before, that wouldn't be working. Let me just come out of that. Rescan it one more time. Yeah, it's clear. So we're adding now 950 RPMs. It's not quite as smooth as I thought it'd be, but it's smoother than it was before. And it seems fine. It's a little bit rough, but it could just be because of the cams and everything. The fuel's come up, we're at 1/8 of the tank. You might need a new fuel filter. I'll be doing a service on it soon, so you never know, the fuel filter could just be clogged up where I let the fuel get low and it might have sucked some dirt through. We'll have a little walk around and then we'll end the video, because there's not really much else for me to show you today. But we will end it with some good news and a little hint of what's coming next. These are my top mounts, and these are absolutely done for. So I've ordered up a set of Brown and Gammons adjustable camber top mounts, and they will arrive on Monday, so I'll be getting them fitted, and I've been doing a video about that as well. And what that's going to do is allow me to tilt the wheels further into the car, and that will allow them to clear the wheel arches better, and it will allow a little bit more grip through the corners as the car rolls onto the tyre rather than rolling away from it. So yeah, that's where we're at. Everything seems nice. I can't really complain. Beforehand it was all burbly and blub 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 blub. So now it's quite smooth. What can I expect from a remap? High lift cams, bigger injector, not bigger injectors, bigger throttle body, different intake manifold. Can't expect it to run like a standard engine. It's going to be a little bit lumpy in that, but it all seems to be good. So I think we'll call it a day there. I'll be ordering up some headliner material. We'll be having another video coming, and that'll be about me doing the headliner and getting that fitted back in. I'm going to get my old man to run this down for an MOT for me while I'm at work this week, and then we'll get this back on the road. Peace out.